All right, here we are. We're approaching early September. I'm Tom Novak. This is your Adisseo and Novak weather 30-day outlook for the month of September. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right to it. Here was the precipitation now during the month of August. So this is basically the last 30 days here since about August 1st. And a couple of things to note. Number one, look at all the moisture, the plentiful amounts of moisture now that fell over the desert southwest and then extended east across Texas, which was a bit of a surprise how much rain fell in Texas, and then continuing east into the Gulf Coast, which was expected. And then the big area of dry weather, in fact, some abnormally dry weather over the central and northern plains, and then on up into southern prairies of Canada. Saskatchewan. You don't see it here, but that dry air did extend into portions of southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. So no doubt drought conditions are starting to deepen or continue to deepen in the areas of the plains of the United States and portions of southern Canada. And then this has been kind of a broken record, but much of the eastern half of the country has seen near or above average precipitation. And they hardly any drought conditions there in that portion of North America and the United States. Here is the latest map now, the drought monitor that just came out from NOAA now. And not a surprise here. Look at what's happening in the central and northern plains. Drought conditions continue to deepen. In fact, if we continue that further north now into southern Canada and extrapolate that, you would see that drought conditions are also increasing in portions of southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Although once you get to Manitoba and points on east, there's hardly any drought in this section of North America. Texas, although much of Texas is still in a drought, there was good news. Plenty of rain in August, and Texas is starting to alleviate the drought conditions down there. And this is a little bit of a surprise. Look at the northeastern sections of the United States where drought is a concern, especially in Massachusetts and Connecticut. All right. Hey, this is actually kind of interesting. This is a slider that compares the drought conditions back in late May to the drought conditions as of yesterday. And this is what it was back in late May. And a couple of things I wanted to show you is I concentrate here on the central and northern sections of the plain states, and then also put your concentration down here in the southern and southwestern sections of the U.S. Again, this is back in late May. All right, now let's go to as of yesterday and look at how the drought conditions have deepened over the central and portions of the northern plain states, along with, yes, sections of the northeastern sections of the country. Meanwhile, the desert southwest and even now portions of Texas, we're starting to alleviate the drought conditions down there. And I think that trend is actually going to continue. Now, looking at the weather maps here, these are the forecasts now as we head into September. And these are the heights or the thicknesses in the atmosphere. And long story short, we look at these red areas and blue areas. The red areas are an expanding atmosphere, usually associated with warmer than normal conditions. And then the blue areas are a contracting atmosphere, or what we call troughs in the atmosphere. And let's put this into motion now and watch what happens. And look at the northern sections of the United States and areas of southern Canada. As we head into this first week of September, an expanding atmosphere means that temperatures are likely going to be much above normal over much of the northern U.S. and sections of southern Canada. That trend continues even as we head into the second week of September. Look at the expanding atmosphere over the northern U.S. and portions of southern Canada. Meanwhile, we finally get a trough, and it's a deep one that develops over western sections of North America, especially the United States. And then down in the Gulf Coast, the atmosphere is just primed for moisture down there. This is the GFS computer model guidance, by the way. And as we head into the middle and then latter sections now of September, we start to get a pattern developing where a trough develops out west over the northern or over the western sections of North America, and then a ridge, I think, is going to once again develop over the central and northern sections of the country, which would continue the warmer than average temperatures over that area of the United States and southern Canada. This is the jet stream, the river Vare at 30 to 35,000 feet from the European computer model guidance. And this takes us through the first 10 days of September. And what I want to show you is just how the jet stream in general is staying north of the U.S.-Canadian border. That means pretty warm temperatures are likely across northern sections of the U.S., especially the Plains states, and then into the Great Lakes region. Meanwhile, as we get into the middle portions of September, a trough does start to develop out west, which will not only continue to pump up warm air into the central and northern sections of the United States and portions of southern Canada, but it also should increase moisture over the southern sections of the United States, especially Texas and Louisiana, where they do still need rain, but I'm worried that they might get a little bit too much rain in those sections of the United States. This is the Drought Index Map, and I've also put my concerns on top of this drought monitor map. And a couple of things to point out: I'm still expecting quite a bit of wet weather from Texas and New Mexico on east through the Gulf coastal states. Meanwhile, much drier than normal conditions are likely over the northern and central sections of the Plains states into portions of southern Canada, and then that dry air would continue to expand east into the Great Lakes region. When I look at the predictions now from Novak Weather, this is the 30-day temperature outlook. And as I had mentioned, as that jet stream surges north into southern Canada, that means a warm bubble of air over a high pressure ridge will develop or maintain itself over the northern, almost the northern half of the United States. Meanwhile, below average temperatures and even some much below average temperatures are expected in the deep south and the southern plains, especially Texas and Louisiana, where there should be plenty of moisture that will be falling from the sky. And I show that here in the precipitation outlook over the next 30 days. Look at all of the rain and moisture that is expected over about the southern third or so of the United States. Meanwhile, the northern one half of the United States at least is going to experience a below or much below average rainfall amounts, which should help at least those that need to get into the fields for their harvest up in the northern plains and upper Midwest. But eventually, we're going to be running into some problems, if we haven't already, over the central and northern sections of the Plains states. All right, that's your 30-day outlook from Novak Weather and Adisseo. I appreciate you joining me. We will talk to you one more time here as we head into October.